Hey everyone, off the mic Sports Network here. So in the aftermath, this is Browns thoughts, by the way. In the aftermath of Jayden Daniels getting his team to the NFC Championship game and beating the Detroit Lions on Saturday night, I've seen a lot of Browns fans try to rationalize this into, oh, we've got to take a quarterback. We've got to take a quarterback at the top of the draft. We have to take a quarterback because we're picking number 2. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't have to take a quarterback. You want to know why? I've got a couple things for you guys here. So, first of all, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I like Cam Ward. Shedeur Sanders, eh. The scouting community is really mixed on Shedeur. And also, I don't think he's going to want to play in Cleveland. And you know what? Good riddance if you don't want to play in Cleveland. I mean, for one, there's been 40 starting quarterbacks since the Browns came back in 1999. So I don't blame you for wanting to come here. And also, Browns don't need that drama. They don't need that energy in here. They're already in this, albatross that is the Deshaun Watson contract, and he's a piece of shit. And I just don't think Shedeur would be the right guy anyway. But the bigger thing is, and I've seen Daniel Jeremiah and other scouts talk about this class, and this is the biggest indictment on the argument of people saying Browns have to take a quarterback because Jayden Daniels got picked number 2 overall. Look what happened. And I've seen so many Browns fans try to make this argument that, hey, if we take a quarterback, we might be the Commanders. It's like, no, that's not how it works. J.J. McCarthy was picked by the Minnesota Vikings. I think he was picked 10th overall. I don't have it in front of me, but he was the 4th quarterback taken in a historically great quarterback class where quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3. Caleb Williams, number 1. Jayden Daniels, number 2. Drake May, number 3. J.J. McCarthy was picked, was the 4th quarterback, and I think he went 10th. The consensus within the scouting community, if J.J. McCarthy would have stayed, and he was an underclassman, if he would have stayed at Michigan and would have come back for another season and would have entered the 2025 NFL draft, he would have been picked ahead of Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. He would have been the number 1 quarterback. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know about why I don't think the Browns need to just go all in. Like, listen, if they've got a high enough grade on Cam Ward, fine, okay? But let's get real. Neither one of these guys are Jayden Daniels. And I would not want to force the second pick in the draft, which hopefully you're never going to have to do it again. Because if you miss, you're going to have to go back and do this again and start the clock over again. You have to pick the right guy. And clearly they were somewhat to a degree right about Baker Mayfield. And yes, they moved off of him. But I'm not going to get into arguments about, hey, they should have taken Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You can't convince me that that was going to work in this situation. There's not a Jayden Daniels in this draft, okay? And also, I've said this before and I'll say this again. If Jayden Daniels was in Chicago, none of this would have happened. It's all about situation as well, okay? And I don't know if the Browns have the right infrastructure in place to bring in a rookie quarterback, let alone a rookie quarterback that's less talented than the guys that you're trying to compare him to. The Browns absolutely do not have to force a quarterback pick. I understand people have their apprehension and their resistance to going after a veteran quarterback like a Kirk Cousins who's, up there in age, but he's been in Kevin Stefanski's offense. He didn't play that well this year, but his best years were with the head coach of the Browns running the offense for him. You really think Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders is going to walk in here and do exactly what Jayden Daniels did? Because here's the other thing. Look at the division. Joe Burrow's in this division. Lamar Jackson's in this division. I may not think Lamar Jackson will win a Super Bowl, but the Ravens are going to be at the top of this division for a long time. And the Steelers clearly have something right, because even if they can't figure out the quarterback, they still win games. So you've got that to compete with. You think a rookie quarterback that is significantly less talented? I mean, I like Cam Ward, but you think a rookie quarterback that's not at the level and the experience of a Jayden Daniels is just going to walk in here and do exactly what the Commanders have done this year? You're crazy. And people are trying to convince me, oh, well, what if people would have resisted Cam Newton if they didn't like what Sam Bradford was doing? Guys, there's context applied to these drafts. Some people were trying to give me the comparison. Oh yeah, after the Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger draft the next year, Alex Smith and Aaron Rodgers were picked. And look at that. Okay, Alex Smith went number 1 overall. Alex Smith never went to a Super Bowl. Alex Smith was a decent quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers was picked in the mid-20s and didn't start for 3 seasons. Okay, he didn't start for 3 seasons. What are we talking about here? Like, stop trying to rationalize and force the quarterback when if there's a lot, like, the issues are clear that Deshaun Watson wasn't going to fix everything. There was a lot more issues, but Watson was a big problem with this. Quarterback is not the only issue with this team. So unless you seemingly think, and I would question the front office if they thought one of these quarterbacks, like I said, I would be okay with Cam Warren, but I wouldn't exactly be, ecstatic about it. Like, I'm not going to be like jumping for joy if they drafted like a Caleb Williams. Like, there's not that guy in this draft. But if it's like Shedeur Sanders isn't going to want to play there, he's going to force his way out of Cleveland. It's like, why do you guys keep forcing this? Because we've whiffed on so many quarterbacks. Like, what are we doing? Just because one guy is good doesn't mean that we need to do the same thing. Okay. That being said, this organization is hopeless because, like, hey, they hitched their wagons to a sex predator, and you know what? Hey, they reap what they sow. So that's my thoughts here. The Browns' thoughts. We'll have a lot more here coming up on the channel. I'll talk to you guys soon.